Why are you just not letting me? What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Raven, and we're kind of night flighting it tonight. And pretty soon, I'm going to be joined by Jason Vey of Elf Lair Games. I'm sure you remember Jason. Jason has been on this podcast several times. Well, actually, a couple times. First time we talked about like Night Shift and Amazing Adventures. The guy has an incredible body of work. Some of you may not know that he's also done a Conan the Barbarian module for original D&D. So if you're looking at White Box by the Basic Expert, which is a very, very good clone, by the way, very good clone of original D&D. You're playing White Box Fantastic Medieval Adventure game, or Delving Deeper, or Iron Falcon. You can pair it with one of those and come out of it with a really great experience. There's also Amazing Adventure Star Siege, which I have the PDF of it, but I think it's undergoing some rewrites right now. And I'd like to welcome all of you, including Stu, who's joined us, and boom, first one here. We got our people watching on Rumble. We got our people watching on X. We got our people watching on YouTube as well. Now, I know I've been gone a while, and this was kind of like last minute thrown together, but happy to be back in the captain's chair, rocking and rolling with you again. So, a couple things. Number one, my Substack, which is called The Raven's Nest. You can go check that out. I've been posting stuff there, including my last article, which really wasn't much of an article as it was just letting you know that. Number two, my Gilded server, the Ravens Asylum Theater, the theater, which Jason and Tony from Dystopian Dawn 2526 joined. So we've got two bona fide authors in there with us. Yes, you can join it too. Just a couple rules. Number one, no politics, because I think games should really bring us together. I know, weird, but I mean, come on, look at me, guys. I'm wearing a cowboy hat with a Misfits t-shirt. I'm weird that way. Just no politics at all. Let's just go in there. I don't care if you want to use one of the gaming tables to run Thirsty Sword Lesbians. I don't give a shit. Just go and run your game and have fun. That's all I give a shit about. So if you're in there and you want to run Wicked Ones, you want to run the Wretched Verse, Castles and Crusades, Amazing Adventures, Wasted Lands, Night Shift, or the upcoming 13 Parsecs, which just dropped on BackerKit today. And I've got good news for you all. Congratulations are in order when he gets back. He was here just a second ago. Don't know what happened, but soon he will be back, and I will be bringing him in. 13 Parsecs. If you haven't checked this out, it is on BackerKit right now. Link is in the description below. Go check it out, because, ladies and gentlemen, I did announce on my Substack about a little over a week ago. This was the announcement. I will just kind of bring it up and read it, because this was such a great announcement. I kind of thought it needed to be shared amongst me and a couple, thousand of you on Twitter, and those of you on Substack, and of course everything. So I did note none of what I'm about to tell you are my words. This is strictly from Jason and Tim over at Elf Lair Games. So 13 Parsecs Beyond the Solar Frontier will be launching in just a couple weeks. That was 8 days ago. And we still need your help. As someone who has supported us in the past, we want to ask for your commitment to pledge on day one. I did. Me, the guy you're looking at right now, I did. I went for the print, digital, and GM screen, because quite honestly, I already have Night Shift. I already have Wasted Lands. This is your opportunity to also pick up Night Shift and Wasted Lands. So if you've fallen behind and you don't know where to start, just pick up all three. I think all three together is like $175. However, let me go on to say that Wizards of the Coast wants to charge you about that much, possibly more, for the next 3 core rule books, and you're only getting one game. At least this way you're getting 3. baby. It's on like Donkey Kong, and yes, you can, as long as your character survives the respective campaigns in each one, you can use the Night Companion, create an immortal character, and carry that character over from Wastelands into Night Shift and into 13 Parsecs, which Tim informed me a long time ago that that was something he already did, and it was pretty amazing to check out. So, pledge on day one, that is today. Do that before 6:15 a.m. tomorrow, because they want to have the strongest launch possible. Now, I'm going to say that launch is strong as hell. To that end, we are holding 2 raffles if we fund on day one, which they have, and you want to pitch in today in order to get your entry in for that raffle. Let me tell you what's going on. Most of you may be aware, but Jason is the author of the Amazing Adventures role-playing game published by Elf Lair Games. True. This means that he has a few rarities in his personal archive, and if we fund on day one, which they did, 2 raffles will be held. The first will be for an ultra-rare Gen Con preview edition of Amazing Adventures, first published in 2012. This black cover perfect bound book measured in at 140 pages and required Castles and Crusades to play. Only 50 of these were ever printed. Jason will sign and personalize the book to the winner. Read below for the second mega raffle. Get ready for this. The second raffle will be for a complete set of the now out of print Amazing Adventures 5e game line. Personally, I have the Amazing Adventures 5e book. I would love to read I would love to have the entire set. Holy crap. Also from Jason's personal archives, Jason will sign and personalize the core book and sign all the rest of the books in the line. This set encompasses a full 350-page hardcover, which I do already have, but like I said, I'd love to have it again. 10 softcover source books and adventure modules, an expanded booklet character journal, and a digest-sized field journal notebook. This raffle will only be held if they fund on day one, which they did, and only those who pledge on day one and stick with the campaign through to the end will be eligible. Names will be drawn right away, but will not be announced until the end of the campaign. This should be very doable, as our funding goal for this campaign is just $1,500. We are going to come back to that little factoid in just a minute. Furthermore, if we make $9,000 in the first 3 days and unlock the hardcover of 13 Parsecs, the raffle for the Gen Con Preview Edition will also include both soft cover printings of the full Amazing Adventures game, first and second print. Those are rare collectibles you will not find anywhere else. But to get there, we need your help. Please click through and sign up to follow and be notified so you can get in right away. Can we count on your pledge? They could certainly count on mine. And me and another guy have been like amped up. I can't tell you how like amped we've been. Here we go. Jason's coming in. All right. So we have been absolutely amped for this. It has been so cool to see, because I'm going to bring Jason in here. Oh, there we go. Hey, Jason.
There we go. Sorry about that. I was having camera problems.
That's all right, man. Love that t-shirt.
Thank you.
Love it. It's cool. So I did just read the announcement that I posted to my Substack about the raffles that you guys are going to hold. And I wanted to bring this up before we go any further, because this is something I usually save this for after the campaign ends, but today, no, not today. Today
what sucks is, of course, because this is my life and my world. The first day when we're just rocketing along,
yeah,
the URL goes down and my link goes out for like 2 hours. Yeah, all the links that I posted on Twitter and everywhere weren't working for people to get to the.
Well, check this out. Your $1,500 goal got smashed.
It did.
80 backers, $3,494. Still got 31 days left, but we only have till Friday, 6:15 a.m. Eastern time
to hit 9,000.
That hardcover, guys.
Yeah, to hit 9,000. Yeah.
Yep, hit 9,000, and I can't believe this. This did not show up.
And that's actually just to expand the range of the raffle.
Mm-hmm.
That $9,000 stretch goal, if we hit it by Friday, the Siege Engine version of the Amazing Adventures raffle will get more books.
Nice, very nice. And on top of that, this one you've done something a little different, because I remember Wasted Night Shift itself is a hardcover, Wasted Lands also a hardcover. That was a pretty hard fought victory, but still a victory nonetheless. Yes. This one you've chosen to go soft cover. I guess it was to keep the kind of barrier down a little bit.
It was so that we could get a lower funding goal. Because as most people are aware, the key on crowdfunding is to fund. If you fund early, then you have a better chance of smashing through more stretch goals and whatnot. So it was going to be way less expensive to do a soft cover, and that enabled us to set a really low funding goal so we can get that book into people's hands regardless.
So tell me, who are some of the artists that we're going to see?
You know what? I'm still kind of putting together. You'll definitely see some Brad McDevitt in there because he's a go-to for me. Unfortunately, I'm kind of stuck using his stock art because he is exclusive to Goodman Games right now for commissioned art, which is awesome for him. I think that's phenomenal, but it makes me sad because I love Brad. He's a great guy, and I wish I could work directly with him a little more. But you'll definitely see some of his stuff from his stock art that he's put out over the years in there. I am hoping to bring some more people who have seen my map for Wasted Lands are familiar with Mel Henning. She also does some work for Troll Lord, and I'm hoping to come up with some decent money to have her put a few pieces of artwork in there. I know I have her working on some spaceship designs for me.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so
I do love her work, and I've loved her work since I first found her on Twitter. I was just kind of like watching just the stuff coming out of her feed, and I was like, this is amazing stuff.
Yeah, she's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And the cover art, which you can see up there on the screen, is Nicole Cardiff. The funny story about that is I bought that painting around 2008, 2009, something like that. I fell in love with it. I just reached, and it was for sale, and I reached out to her, and it was available, and I just bought the rights for it, and I've been sitting on it for 14 years or so, trying to figure out something.
And that's going to be the cover.
Are we having sound issues?
No, not at all.
I am over here. I'm having weird sound issues. Oh. Hopefully, if it's okay on your end, hopefully it'll come across.
Yeah, it sounds fine on my end. I think you're coming in pretty. It's a little quiet, but it's fine. I can hear you just fine.
Okay, I'm getting weird static and stuff like that.
They're weird.
Yeah. But anyways, so I've been sitting on that cover for about 14 years, just trying to figure out something to do with it, and this is what we got. So,
even though like the ship she's on is being pursued by two more, and they're firing upon it, she just looks like just another day at the office.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal picture. I absolutely love it. Nicole is amazing, and I used some of her stock art in Wasted Lands too.
Oh yeah, I do remember seeing it.
Yeah, she's a fantastic artist.
So this one says, play any subgenre or style of science fiction, from gritty cyberpunk to epic planetary romance, with this customizable tabletop RPG powered by Ogres, which, yes, ladies and gentlemen, is customizable and dead simple to run. The same rules: Night Shift, Veterans of the Supernatural Wars, and Wasted Lands, The Dreaming Age. Same engine, guys. If you've already played Night Shift, if you've already played Wasted Lands, guess what? There's no difference. You're just swapping out the genre at that point, which I think does wonders, because when you have like, especially with D&D 5e, you will find people that are super used to D&D, they're super used to Castles and Crusades or Pathfinder or something like that. This one, you're just swapping out genres, virtually no difference in play style at all, and everybody can play something different.
Yeah.
Now, here's my question. I know you and Tim have absolutely play tested the hell out of this. What are some subgenres you guys have played?
Tim's big into hard science fiction. In fact, he pushed me to go like full on hard sci-fi with this, and I'm not a hard sci-fi guy, so that was a hard no on my end. But we do, if you want to play hard sci-fi, rules are just rules. You can put as much science as you want in your game. But he is actually one of his. So you know how in Night Shift we have the night worlds, the mini settings.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a similar approach here. There's going to be, we're calling them Solar Frontiers. Mini settings, and the two that Tim is doing are Space Truckers, which
Alien.
Yeah, well, more Firefly, I think, than Alien.
Okay, yeah.
Because he's also doing one that he's got to come up with a title for it, because the titles he has have been used, but right now his working title is Dark Stars, and that's going to be his in space, no one hears you scream type setting.
So space horror a little bit?
Yeah, space horror. My setting is going to be just an over-the-top space opera, but with like a grittier. So if Star Wars was a little bit grittier, will be kind of what mine is. And then I'm not sure exactly what Derek's planning. Most of people who are familiar with us don't really know Derek, but Derek has been working with Tim and I since we were in Eden Studio. They used to call us the Cabal at Eden Studio, the three of us. We worked on Buffy and All Flesh Must Be Eaten and Witchcraft together and all that stuff. He came on board for 13 Parsecs. The three of us used to talk constantly about having a dream of the three of us running a company together. Now, we're not actually running Elf Lair together. Elf Lair is my company, and I have to say that because it's my ass on the line if something goes bad. They're not actually on staff, but they're freelancing for me, and their opinions matter, very much so. So we still call ourselves the Cabal, and we're kind of hoping to get to the point where the three of us can run this thing together. But right now, I'm running Elf Lair, and rules are all mine, but that Tim and Derek are contributing Solar Frontiers to this book.
And speaking of Solar Frontiers, I want to jump right to the stretch goals to show everyone exactly what we're talking about.
And I have to say, so I got some quotes from a printer who's a different printer than I've used before, and the quotes are really, really good. So those stretch goals may get jostled around a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not making any promises, but some things that are at higher stretch goals might actually come down a bit. We'll have to see what happens. Yeah.
So at 1,500 funded, naturally, we've blown, I think, those of us who were, I know myself and one other guy in the server, we have been IMing back and forth, just like chomping at the bit. We're like, oh, come on, let this come out. We're just waiting. And at 5,000, a new Solar Frontier, so a new mini setting.
Yeah.
9,000.
Derek and I are actually the 5,000 one. Derek and I are working on that mini setting together. And
cool.
I don't want to say too much about it, but it's going to be kind of a gonzo post-apocalyptic anything goes type.
I'm already picturing Hunter S. Thompson behind the wheel of like a freighter ship with his attorney sitting in the passenger seat.
Yeah, I mean, Fallout meets Gamma World meets Mad Max, just completely with time bubbles and like all kinds of crazy
That I could really sink my teeth into that.
We were bashing our heads together the other day about it, and we came up with some really cool like Gonzo stuff that we're gonna have to put together for it. So yeah, I'm excited to get that one in there. So I hope we hit that. I mean, I hope we hit 25,000, but I'm excited to get that new setting.
And at 9,000, we got the hardcover. Let's be sure to my audience out there watching right now, let's be sure to reach that by Friday morning. Let's go ahead and push this thing right into hardcover, because at 13,000, it's leather covers, baby. And those things, if you haven't seen them on Elf Lair's site for Wasted Lands, they are absolutely gorgeous.
And now that's going to be a new pledge level for leathers. Nobody's going to get an automatic upgrade because they are crazy expensive to produce.
Yes, they are.
13,000 unlocks the pledge level to get the leathers.
Nice. You know what? I'm thinking if we get it to 13,000, I might just do it on this one. Because I don't know, the ones for Wasted Lands were gorgeous. I just couldn't afford them at the time.
They did come out really nice. I had hoped to put ribbon bookmarks in them, but it didn't play out. I'm hoping again if we get there with 13 Parsecs that they will have ribbon bookmarks.
All right, and at 15,000 GM screens.
Yeah, those are, so we're going to have GM screens regardless. It's just a matter of whether they're POD or whether we do the actual nice printed ones like we've done with Night Shift.
Yeah, because the one I backed was definitely
that's actually
PDF GM screen. Yeah,
GM screen.
And look, I have the POD. As a matter of fact, hang on, I'll grab it because this is awesome looking. There we go. Now, for those of you who have never seen a GM screen that's POD, I'm gonna tell you right now, these things are very pretty, and I'll just kind of go solo for just a moment. And this is what will be facing you if you're playing with me. So the full thing right there, that was for Wastelands. And then on the back here, here we go. Plenty of tables and all kinds of other very cool stuff. Very easy to run. This way I don't have to refer to the book too much. I can just kind of keep it there. But that's the POD, their inserts. So you'd have to have a screen sort of like this one, which is a fairly common one on Amazon, but this one really does work. Also happens to be Servant of Shiloh's favorite GM screen. He happens to be one of my favorite YouTubers. So I just finished watching a video of his, and guy spat straight facts throughout the whole thing. But still, even with the POD, they do look great.
They do, but the actual print ones are super, super nice.
Oh yeah.
And I eventually I want to do the print ones for Wasted Lands. It's just a matter of getting the extra couple grand in the bank to contact my printer. And I've looked forever to find a printer in the US that would do GM screens for me. Everybody goes to China now, and I refuse to work with China. So
right on. So guys, you heard it. Made in the USA.
Made in the USA. Yep.
Made in the USA, independent games.
I really desperately want to do custom dice for my company, but again, I can't find anybody outside of China to do it. So it's like I'm kind of locking my jaw against going to China just for the dice because it's the only place I can go. But so far, I have not fallen to that. So,
well, we also have 20,000 for the art budget. Cal, to answer your question, this is not on Kickstarter. It is on BackerKit, and links in the description below. You can go and drop your pledge right there.
Question: did you put the actual link, or did you put the tiny URL?
I think I put the actual link in. Let me run over here real quick.
Yeah, make sure it's the actual link because that tiny URL one was broken.
Okay, let's see.
I think the entire tiny URL servers went down. I don't know what happened, but
yeah, it's the actual BackerKit link.
Okay, awesome.
So I didn't do the tiny URL for that one.
Cool.
So that one is in the description below. It's on YouTube, Rumble, and I don't know if it's on X, but if you're watching through X, hop on over to our Rumble or YouTube video. Pop in, you can chat. I do also take comments through X, so you can contact me there. And let's see, there we go. And so people are watching on X. So if you're looking for that link, I think one of my previous, actually, I posted a lot about that today because I was like, I'm going to beat this dead horse to glue. It's just going to happen.
Keep doing it, man. Keep doing it. We need all the support we can get. So
totally. Absolutely.
Yeah, share it around everywhere as often as possible.
Yeah, let's just keep this between, us and thousands of our friends out there.
There you go. Yeah. Hey, 1,000 backers would be amazing. If we could get 1,000 people to back this, that would be amazing.
Jesus,
let's do that.
Let's scroll back up really quick. How many? We got 81 backers. You're
81 backers. So we only need
3,644
more.
Yeah, it's that's all, guys. It's not that long to go. Let's get this to 1,000 backers. Yeah, share it with your friends. Share it far and wide. And if you can't back now, hey, just share it with your friends and then bookmark that and come back later and, go ahead and pick this one up. And let's see real quick. I do want to see on the pledges here, pledge levels. Yeah, let's go with that real quick.
Okay.
So digital only is like $15. Into the wormhole, this is the early bird. So you will get, this is actually $150 and you get all 3 games.
Yeah.
At
and
a steep
GM
discount.
Yeah.
This is only available for the first 48 hours, y'all. So if you need to catch up,
that pledge level will still be there, but it's more expensive after the first.
Right. So $150 just for the first 48 hours. This, I'm going to tell you, like I said before, Wizards of the Coast wants to charge you way more than that for the 3 core rule books to 1 game. This is 3 separate games.
Honestly, my goal here is to get eyes on the game. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm taking a bit of a hit on that pledge level, but I'm okay with that if it gets people's eyes on the game. Right
on. Now, let's see, the one I backed, of course, is right there, Star Commodore, because, yeah, boy, that's a GM's package. I'm a GM, definitely, forever. The No One Hears You Scream. So you get 13 Parsecs and Night Shift Veterans of the Supernatural Wars together. That's $80. Science Fantasy Spectacular is 13 Parsecs plus Wasted Lands. That's $90. And
that's more expensive because Wasted Lands is 2 books.
Yes. Yeah. And Into the Wormhole, the whole shebang, plus GM screens for all 3 games, $175. Still a better deal than what you're going to get with Wizards of the Coast. Retailers, if you run a shop somewhere, $100, you get 5 copies of that game to sell. So there you go. I'm telling all of you guys here, these pledge levels are like so doable.
Yeah.
But let's go back to those stretch goals because this is where I want 20,000 art budget, 25 full color. And then we've got a whole bunch of question marks right there because I think, if I'm not mistaken, you've said that you have some special plans for post 25K.
I do.
I'm not going to ask about those because you said you were holding them as surprises. And I think anything you come up with is probably going to be a very, very welcome surprise.
Yeah, we have to get there. Once we get there, you'll see what we have in store.
And Cal said, how much? Okay, I'll get in there. So I think we have another backer. Are we on 48 hour 48 now? No, we are not. We are on day 1, baby.
Yep. It's 24 hours tomorrow at 6:15 a.m. Eastern time.
I was actually trying to stay up. I thought this thing was going to go live early, and I was like trying to stay up. I couldn't because I work so many early mornings now. I just go to bed kind of early.
Yeah, we went live at 6:15 a.m.
Yeah, I woke up this morning to messages. It's live, and I'm like, oh shit, where
Yeah.
is it? Sitting there with my phone, going, what? Wait, hold on.
I actually just wanted to bring out. So you mentioned the raffle earlier, and for
Yeah.
people who aren't aware of what that is, many people know that I am a staff writer for Troll Lord Games as well, and that's not changing anytime soon. I love those guys. They are all some of my favorite people in the world. They're my family, and I am completely loyal to Troll Lord Games. I will be a staff writer for them as long as they will have me. Elf Lair Games is my gig. It's because I had games that I wanted to publish in my system that nobody was going to publish but me because it was my system. So, and because I wanted to have this thing with Derek and Tim, but I'm still with Troll Lord. Now, that being said, as a staff writer for Troll Lord, I'm the sole writer, creator, game developer, and technically actually owner of the Amazing Adventures game line. The raffles that we're doing now, the first stage of that raffle has been unlocked. There's two things being raffled off. One is a complete set of, we did a whole 5th edition version of Amazing Adventures, and there was a whole game line there. It's like 10, 12 books or something like that. I have it. It's way up on the shelf. I'm not going to climb up there and get it. But that whole set, the whole 5e line, which is now out of print, is going to be raffled off. And when we originally did Amazing Adventures back around 2012 or so, it was released first as a Gen Con preview edition. Only 60 of these were printed, and this is what it looks like right here.
Oh, hold up. Let me put you in solo mode here.
Okay.
See if I can do that real quick. Or at least put you up on duo.
There we go. Okay. So there, there's Amazing Adventures. This is the Gen Con preview edition. This did not even have a rules chapter in it. You needed Castles and Crusades to play it. It's in progress, and we wanted to get it out there for people to see it back in 2012. Now, that's what's getting raffled off for the second thing right now. If we make it to 9,000 by Friday, this particular raffle is going to expand, and you're also going to get, this was the first full printing of Amazing Adventures here, which is a cleaned up version of the Gen Con preview edition plus the rules chapter. So it's the first complete game. Then you will get the second printing of Amazing Adventures, which was the still soft cover, but again, cleaned up with a new cover.
I have the hardcover of that one.
And I'm going to throw in the hardcover third print plus the Amazing Adventures Companion plus the Amazing Adventures Manual of Monsters. Again, these are all out of print now because we're coming out with a brand new revamp cleanup of Amazing Adventures. But if we make it to Friday, you're going to get all of that with the Siege Engine raffle as well. If we make it to 9,000 by Friday.
So
right now, some lucky person is going to get the 10 or whatever 5th edition books, and the other person is going to get the original, long out of print, only 60 ever made of this.
Nice.
If we make it to 9,000, the Siege version gets all these extra books too. So, and that's all from my personal archive, and I'll sign all the books for whoever wants.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know what to do. Share this out. Go and spam the hell out of that link, because quite honestly, I'm going to tell you right now, if you've never played Amazing Adventures and you win either of these sets, you are going to be one of the happiest RPGers anywhere, because Amazing Adventures is kind of one of those go everywhere, do anything systems. It's really cool. It's I usually say Savage Worlds is a decent universal system, but Amazing Adventures does what most of us love, which is pulp, which we're talking Robert E. Howard, H.P. Lovecraft, Clark Ashton Smith, Edgar Rice Burroughs. It does all of that, and it does it really well.
And more. I love it for a modern urban fantasy game, personally. And it's 100% compatible. It's part of the Castles and Crusades architecture, I guess is the word. They're both one big game. Castles and Crusades is your high fantasy. Amazing Adventures is everything else with exactly the same rules.
There was another one, Amazing Adventures Star Siege. I actually have it in PDF, but that's even that since kind of disappeared. Is that being incorporated?
It will come back. I don't know. I would love to. I have one here. I would love to include it in the raffle, but I have to look and see if I have enough spare copies in my archive before I can promise anything. But yeah, that was Star Siege.
Oh yeah, that one. I think that was the first Amazing Adventures book I read. I got it in PDF because the first book I ever bought from Troll Lord Games was Starship Warden. Rest in peace, Jim Ward. Love that guy. And
we're dedicating 13 Parsecs to Jim.
Oh
yeah,
my dudes.
Yeah, I knew Jim. I loved him. He was just a wonderful guy.
Yeah, you worked with him on the Storyteller's Dictionary and the Storyteller's Thesaurus.
No, I didn't actually work on those books. No.
No?
He did a book called Elemental Spells for Castles and Crusades that I did revisions and editing and some rewrites and additional material. He and I were working on a Storyteller's historical reference, but it kind of fell apart. For various reasons. It just ended up not being a very good idea in the end. We used to talk all the time about working together on a gaming project. Now it's just never going to happen, sadly. I miss him.
And it seems like what's going on with I did actually ask the guys at Troll Lord what was going on with I know they had plans for a revised Starship Warden and all this other stuff, and after Ward passed, I do remember reading that his family went in the direct opposite of where Gary's family went, which was they shut down a lot of projects, and they said they just kind of put a lid on them, and now we're starting to see those come about. But Ward's family was like, no, publish those things, release them.
Yeah, I don't know. As far as I know, Troll Lord's not going to be doing any more Starship Warden stuff.
Oh.
As far as I know. I can't speak for Steve. He might have something in the fire that I don't know about. But as far as I know, there's no plans for more Starship Warden from Troll Lord.
Oh, wow.
Anything could happen.
Kind of wish I got my hand on that book to Goya.
Star Siege will come back eventually. There's plans for it. First, we have to get through fulfilling the Indiegogo campaign for the new Amazing Adventures and all of that stuff, and then we have some of the Gygax licenses back, as everybody's heard. So we have to get all that stuff. We have some other exciting things coming up that I can't talk about that we have to get through. But Star Siege is on the docket eventually, and as of now, and Steve changes his mind a lot, so this could change. So don't take it as gospel. But as of now, the plan is to do Star Siege as a 128-page hardcover. And it's going to have expanded rules and some more character classes and some more that'll let you use it in a limited fashion on its own without the core books before you have to go to the core books. So that's kind of the plan for it right now.
And I do love the Star Siege PDF that I have. It's amazing.
I'll say this: cool. If you are looking forward to the new Star Siege, get 13 Parsecs, because I'm testing ground a lot of stuff in 13 Parsecs that is going to get converted to the Siege engine for Star Siege eventually.
And all I can think is, hot damn, you are just dropping bombs on us, dude. You're nuking us from orbit here, and it's the only way to be sure. And I'm so
in love with our Starship combat rules and our Starship construction rules. I don't know that they're entirely unique, but just the way they've come out, I'm really excited.
You know, I've played games like there was one I played. I used to play it a lot, and it was called Rebel Galaxy. And I love this game. I have been I've actually kind of modeled some of like I do play a character in Second Life. We occasionally roll dice for a lot of stuff that comes up.
Mhm.
So we do have like the random encounters. We do have the random things happening, and it's all because we're dice rolling while we're story gaming there. But a lot of what I put in there around my character was modeled after that game, and a lot of that game was whatever you're piloting around. I mean, you could pilot around a full dreadnought by yourself, which I was like, can you though? Come on. But it was a lot of like naval combat where it was broadside to broadside cannons just blasting, and then you had to kind of move over to the other side to kind of keep yourself from dying. It was pretty cool stuff, and I'm really really uh, excited to see those ship to ship combat rules. I imagine it's probably not going to be a lot of broadside to broadside, but
No, it's a little more space opera dynamic than
a little
that.
more dogfighting.
Although we do have capital ships in there, so you can have the giant ponderous ships with 8 million laser cannons on the side. But no, so basically the way it works and the way it came out is I was sitting down with my Friday gaming group, and I said, you guys know I'm working on this sci-fi game that eventually we're all going to play test. And they were like, yeah. I said, so what do you guys want to see in a sci-fi game that you don't see in other sci-fi games? And I assume blue language is okay here.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, cool. One of my group, who is also my attorney and one of my editors, said one thing that nobody ever does in space sci-fi games is the fact that space travel is fucking terrifying. Like, just on its own, you could be in cryosleep and just die. He's like, so I want to see something that makes space travel fucking terrifying. So I started thinking, how can I do that without having the GM go, hey, guess what? Your characters are just dead from hypersleep. Nobody wants to play that game. So what I came up with was, what are the basic systems that every ship has? And I came up with 11, and I'm not going to be able to recite them off the top of my head, but they're things like structure and computers and engineering and weapons systems, defensive systems, so I put all these, and the reason I settled on 11 is because 2d6 gives you a range of 11 results. So when you need to make a random roll, you're going to roll 2d6 on this table for the results. Each of these systems has a rating that can be anywhere from 1 to whatever. Most will be 1 to 10 somewhere in there. They can go much higher if you're talking about a space station or a capital ship or something like that. So in addition to its structural points, which would be like the ship's hit points, it has these ratings for, engines and engineering and defense and those ratings serve two purposes. One, they add to appropriate tests that your players make if you're piloting a ship, the ship's maneuverability rating will add to your piloting check. If you need to make repairs, the ship's engineering rating will add to your repair rolls. If you're trying to analyze something, you add the computer, so on and so forth. But whenever the ship takes damage or whenever shit goes sideways, those systems can also take damage. So their ratings can be reduced based on where the ship takes damage, which is great. Like when you're in combat, that enables you to monitor, oh shit, I'm about to lose shields. Oh shit, I'm about to lose, But this can happen, again, while your characters are in cryo sleep. Your ship can get clocked by a meteorite and suddenly, its structure is reduced by like half. And your players might not ever know that the systems have been compromised until it matters. you know?
I mean, that's the opening to Pitch Black.
Yeah. So that's kind of in a nutshell the way it works. And then we have for dogfights, we have complete rules for putting together everything from a small shuttle or a snub fighter all the way up to a space station with the same rules, with the same systems, the same rules. It's just how many points. And we also have what I call quirks. And that is, as machines get older, they develop kind of a personality of it. Everybody who's ever had an old car that only they could start knows what I'm talking about with quirks. So if you take a ship and give it some age, its systems are not going to be as good, but you get to take quirks for the ship that can do things like, one of them is called, I don't know what I just did, but like once per session, you can just make the ship succeed spectacularly at something when otherwise it's broken, and you don't know what you just did, but it worked. So it's
just so I'm clear, no dying during character creation.
No dying during character creation. No. So yeah, I'm really excited for people to see, and then of course for fighter to fighter combat, we have dogfighting rules with maneuvers that are taken from real life dogfighting tactics that are used by the military in atmosphere. Of course, in space, there's no atmosphere, so things are a little bit different. But I did some heavy research.
It's really exciting to see on screen in something like Star Wars, where it's TIE fighters versus Rebel X-Wing fighters, you know, fighting in that trench, trying to get to that exhaust port. That's still exciting to see them go.
It is. And what's amazing was that they did that by using footage from World War I and World War II. They got dogfight footage and ran it for their special effects people and said, make the models do this exactly. So the first cut of Star Wars, and a lot of people probably know this, but the first cut of Star Wars that they showed to like industry professionals didn't have any of the special effects. The Death Star run was completely made up of World War I and World War II dogfight footage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then, what was it recently? Top Gun Maverick did the exact same, which I was watching it for the first time going, okay, I got to see this because I love Top Gun. I watched it constantly as a kid.
Maverick was so good.
And I'm watching Maverick, and the 2-meter port, I went, they just ripped this straight out of Star Wars, didn't they?
Really
And
did.
Someone else told me they ripped Star Wars ripped that from an older World War II movie.
It's possible. I know that most of Star Wars was taken from The Hidden Fortress, the famous Japanese samurai movie.
Yeah. I was just like, it was amazing to watch because you're watching, like, they're taking those G-forces. It made it so much more realistic to me. It wasn't so much glamour to it. And I was like, yeah, this is
I always really dug the dogfight sequences in the new Battlestar Galactica.
I didn't get to watch much of it. What I did get to see, I liked. I did dig that quite a bit. I think the dogfights that I really enjoyed the most, though, might seem a little out of left field, but Red Tails.
I never actually saw that. I wanted to. I've heard bad things, but I really want to see it still.
Yeah, totally see it. It's enjoyable as hell. It really is. I loved it. Like I could get behind those characters, and I don't know why it didn't do a little better than it did, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's on my list. I just have to get around to it. So,
well, I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Since we covered the stretch goals, I want to go back up because I haven't actually seen this video yet.
Oh,
I think we ought to check this out.
Put it up full screen, yeah, so people can see it if they haven't.
There we go. I love that music. That music was excellent.
It's I found it on a stock music site that I use every once in a while.
That was so cool. And now you're up to 3,834 for 83 backers, dude. It's just it keeps going.
Nice. To the people on this particular chat that pledged tonight, thank you very much. It means the world. So
Exactly.
yeah, just keep getting the word out. Tell everybody. If you have a gaming group, tell all of them to buy a copy too, so they can have their own.
Tell everyone you know, go forth, my minions. Exude the power that I've given you. Actually, I don't know if I gave them any power. They have the internet.
You know what? Another thing I wanted to mention that we're doing in here, one of the things that we've gotten a lot of positive comments about from Wasted Lands was the Divine Touchstones.
Yeah.
We have actually retooled those very slightly to make them heroic touchstones. So they're going to be an option in 13 Parsecs if you want to have characters who have signature things about them, or a destiny of fate or whatever, to build these extra normal abilities into your character.
Sort of like Luke going from farm boy to Jedi Knight.
Yeah. We've also, because there's no magic in most science fiction, we couldn't use obviously we have the inventor character class, which is retooled to be the engineer. We couldn't use spells for their gadgets. So I did kind of break down the basic spell effects into kind of an effects-based power system.
Sort of like psionics a little bit.
Psionics are still there. There's still a psionics character class. That class carries over. But no, we have the engineer and the augment, which is basically it could be somebody with cyberware, bioware. It could be a superhero like the X-Men, or whatever. It's somebody with extra normal powers. And instead of using spells like we have in the past, which I still love, it just didn't feel right to print all of the spells in the sci-fi game. We made an effects-based power system. So you'll select the different aspects of what you want your power or gadget to do, and that'll give you the level of it to buy with your points.
Very cool stuff, man. I'm loving it already, and I haven't even seen it yet. But then again, like if you look at Wasted Lands, you do have your magic there. Then of course, like I said, if you use the Knight Companion and carry over your character as an immortal, which Tim has done through all three.
Yeah.
I was like, that's amazing. So something like that, I mean, as you go on, it would kind of break down to being more explained rather than unexplained.
Yeah. It's also worth noting to people who aren't familiar with our games and our game system. Like a lot of other companies, we did strip all of the open content out when WotC did their bullshit with the open game license. I went a little further with the terminology changes than some people did, but really, it's all going to look very familiar 5 minutes in. It's the same rules, the same game. It's even the same ability scores. It's just instead of strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, we have strength, agility, toughness, intelligence, hits and persona. Instead of AC, we have DV for defense value. It's just little things like that.
Yeah.
In Wasted Lands, a few of the spells did get actually changed the way they work. That was just because I was having fun with it. Like, I love turning Fireball into Concussive Blast.
Well, I got some good news here. So Cal said, I'll be gone for a minute to pledge, and then he came back with backed.
Backed. Yes. Thank you,
Nice.
Cal. Appreciate it.
And then, of course, let's see, there was someone else I think also backed. Could be wrong. Yep. Okay, I did it. Yep. So yeah, backed, definitely. I did it. And Cal says, when it came to the changes, as you should, screw WotC.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Now, I generally don't attack or say negative things about other companies. I have a rule about that because we're all in this together. We're a very small industry, and we need to support each other regardless of what our political or social beliefs or whatever are. It's a small company or a small industry, and we're all here just to play games and have fun. The only exception to that is Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast is not an ally. They are an enemy of every other publisher out there, and they have set themselves up that way. They've made their bed, and they have to lie in it.
They are everything that's wrong.
And they used to be a great company.
Yeah.
They used to be a great company when they bought when they saved TSR, when they did D&D 3rd edition. They were a great company. Everything has gone south with the big corporate mentality, and it's just
I was actually reading or listening to rather Slaying the Dragon by Ben Riggs, and I got into D&D around the Lorraine Williams era when like First Quest was a thing. That revision of the core rule books. I had the player's handbook and the monstrous manual. I never did get the DM's guide. I ran games without it. It was kind of weird, but like Kingdom of Karamikos, those box sets that just fueled my imagination. Here, the whole time I thought Gary Gygax was still behind the wheel. Of course, we didn't have the internet at that time, so I had no idea. But Riggs like opened my eyes to so much that was going on. And then when he talked about the WotC buyout, I was just like listening to it and going, why aren't they still like that today?
Yeah,
that's the thing that just got me was they could do so much.
They got
if they
greedy.
Still had Peter Atkinson with them.
Yep, they got greedy, which happens when you get big. It's unfortunate, but that's it just is kind of the way of the world. But yeah, you were talking about 2nd edition. I mean, yeah, Lorraine Williams was a piece of work, but I gotta say, some of my best D&D memories were 2nd edition. I think that edition of the game takes a lot of guff that it doesn't deserve.
Very true. And looks like you're up over 4,000 now.
Yes, we are. Awesome.
So the word is getting out there. It's getting out there big time.
Trucking along.
And happy to see it. Let's keep going. We're only about 5,000 away from getting those hardcovers. Getting that second part of the raffle unlocked. I mean, we're just about halfway there. So hey, we've only done it in, let's see, it's been up what
we're about 15 hours in.
15 hours, yeah.
Almost 16 hours in, yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And this is like such a, to me it was kind of a breath of fresh air, especially when I found I was like, we're almost funded on this one. Nope, correction, we're funded. It's like already shit. Pull the brakes on me, shit.
I had to actually correct people earlier because everybody was like, it funded in 5 hours. I was like, it funded in less than 5 hours. Less than 4 hours.
Oh, less than 4. Holy shit.
Yeah, it was almost, but not quite 4 hours.
Yeah. Wow. Holy crap. Yeah, the build up around this game, the excitement around this game, that's what's really making it right now. I can't wait to see. Personally, I think it's going to not only live up to the hype, I think it's going to exceed a lot of expectations.
I hope it does. I
Especially
really
lately.
do. Here's my big concern. So this is our third game using the same rules set, which means there's a lot of carryover in the manuscript, which means there's a lot of room for anachronisms. Like when your sorcerer does this, you're like, what sorcerer? I'm doing my best to to not have any of that stuff in there, but that's my big fear.
That's okay.
Games you
That's
do.
okay. I still have the original here with the reference that was not Blue Oyster Cult.
Yes, the Deep Purple reference. That is my most embarrassing typo ever.
I will cherish this book just because of it. Not an embarrassment to me. I looked at it, I was like, Deep Purple? I don't think it was Deep Purple, but okay. And then the updated version of the PDF came. I was like, there we go.
Yep.
That's the one.
Nobody called me on it. Nobody called me on that. I had to actually publicly fess up to it before anybody said anything. Which I appreciate. Thank you for not calling me on it. But yeah, it was an embarrassing one. For those who don't know what we're talking about, Night Shift Veterans of the Supernatural Wars is obviously a callback to Blue Oyster Cult's Veterans of the Psychic Wars. I made a terrible typo in the introduction where I said that Tim and I agreed if you can make a Deep Purple reference, you should, instead of a Blue Oyster Cult reference. Completely missed it until the book came out, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that.
Oops.
To both Deep Purple and Blue Oyster Cult, I apologize.
And here's... Look, I'll just pull it up because I think I still have the original PDF as well. Let's see. Yeah, okay.
And actually, for those who pledge at a level or do an add-on for a print version of Night Shift, you will still see OGC in Night Shift because I have to sell through that printing.
Yeah.
Where I can, so just so you know, it's there. But I'm going to try, I only have a few left, depending on how many people order the Night Shift. I'm going to try, I have little booklets that are conversion guides to DOGL Night Shift. So I'm going to try to get those in with whoever orders a copy of Night Shift. And
then there's this one right here. There we are. 290 pages of this, boys and girls. This is where it gets really funny. And this is why I absolutely love this stuff, because you can always see stuff like this. And it's just so much fun. Here we are.
You're not going to show them the Sage typo, are you?
No. No, I'm not going to show them the Sage typo. Not at all. And let me tell you guys, this is why I've said this in the past. I will say it again. Night Shift has become my World of Darkness replacement. And it's that way because, see, what page? 25. Okay, let's go 25. I probably passed it right up on this one.
I'm going to show you guys this. So I found out that Brad McDevitt was going to be selling off the original artwork he did for the Night Companion. And yeah. When I found that out, I kind of had to buy all of it.
Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to share this one. And this is why this is so funny to me, but it's so much fun too. When you make mistakes like this, you just make them. It's all good. So right here, sharing that screen. I want to go right here. So yep, it's also a Deep Purple reference and Tim and I decided that if you can make a Deep Purple reference, you should. That was the original. That's in the printed book I have, which I do not mind. Like I said, it makes me cherish it even more. And then this is the new version. This is the updated PDF. This is the second part of this title is twofold. It's addressing the idea that the battle against darkness is indeed a war, albeit one that may never end. It's also... There's the typo again. It's also a Deep Purple reference. And Tim and
did I leave that in there? Shit! There's still one in there. Okay,
if you could make a Blue Oyster Cult reference, you should. Shit, I missed it too.
So I overlooked it even in the correction. I gotta fix it. It looks like people who have Night Shift PDF are getting another update coming soon.
It's time for another update, guys. That's why I love this game so much. It's why I love ogres. It's why I love all of the lore around it. In fact,
What? Because I
most
screwed up the text.
hey, this is how you know it's made by humans. It's not written by Chat GPT, y'all.
It never will be, and it never ever will be. Somebody has accused me of having some AI imagery in that video. To my knowledge, none of it is, but if it is, it's accidental. Because I do not approve of the use of AI in any way, and Elf Lair Games will never deliberately use AI in any capacity.
I'll own up to it right now. Like on my Substack articles, a lot of my images for that very first image you see are done by AI, but that's just to avoid because I'm writing that for free. I'm releasing it out there, and that's just for like thumbnails and stuff like that. Nobody's going to really care about that one way or the other.
I know some people who professionally will never use AI, but they do put it up on their blog because I know one or two guys that have had copyright challenges for images that they used on their blogs of like celebrities and shit like that. So they just started using AI imagery to avoid copyright, and I get it. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I get it.
Yeah. And here's the thing: like, if a company now, personally, I'm the guy that buys games. I'm working on one right now, and actually, I worked on one. I just did all I did was some additional writing for the Cursed Tarot deck, and that was this one right here. This big bad boy, and it's a thick boy. But this is the first edition. The second edition has the same writing I did for the tarot deck in there, and this does use AI. The Red Room has been open and transparent. They use a mix of human artists and AI because they're very small and they do everything print on demand. So it allows them to release their rather prolific line of work, which is amazing. And I've got a lot of their books up here, but they have left me eating dust on how many books they have, and I have most of them in PDF these days. But it doesn't bother me too much if a company is open and transparent about it. Like that, I don't mind. But when it comes to like Wizards of the Coast, we would never use AI art. Okay, well, we'll use it to enhance. They fired an artist for using AI enhanced work. Then they
turned around and started using AI enhanced work. Yeah. Now, what I say is, as long as I am in a situation where I have to rely on stock art, there is always going to be the chance that something sneaks through. Yeah. It will never be deliberate. It will never be deliberate. And if there's any way I can remove AI art, if it slips into my product, I will. If at least in the PDF, if nothing else.
Lost my camera.
I lost you. You turned into
I turned into that, whatever that is. There we go.
Strange symbol.
Oh yeah, I think I probably knocked the connection loose.
There you go.
Or not.
Away again.
This thing is like, yeah, that USB connection is a little loose there. Let me get back to that, and yeah, turn my camera back on. Come on now.
There you are. Hey.
Come on now. Don't make me beg.
Thanks for taking that typo down. It was just sitting up there, and I was like, is he ever going to make that go away? So embarrassing. I can't believe that there's one still in there. I gotta get.
You know what? It happens. It happens. I didn't even notice it until just now. So, by the time I saw that second time, I was like, I just saw Tim and I decided that if you can make a Blue Oyster Cult reference, you should. And then I'm reading through it, and I was like, "Whoops, there it is."
Yeah.
Shit. That's all right though. We totally understand. We speak.
It's also worth saying that now Elf Lair Games, again, while I have Tim and Derek in there as freelancers, it's pretty much all me. I do all the layout, I do all of the graphic design, I do all the lion's share of the writing that isn't the freelance stuff that they do. the design, everything. I do have editors that I have read the books. So Night Shift was the very first effort at ever doing that for me, all like that. So that was a major learning experience. And there's some stuff in there that makes me cringe when I look at it.
Well, speaking of editing, I was doing editing for the Basic Experts game, Cowpunchers Reloaded, and I was going through it. Apparently, it was a Google Doc, and I didn't know it was live, so I'm making notes and edits in there, and then suddenly the whole thing just collapses down. I'm like, what the hell just happened? I kind of figured out after a couple passes, hey, he's either implementing them or he's doing something different. Yeah. So he's revising on the fly, and I'm like, okay, cool. So this is the funniest thing ever. He kept referring to trigger pull. I grew up around guns. Yeah. So, growing up in the South, you grow up around guns. Yeah. And we were always told, squeeze your whole hand. Right. Because it'll bury some of that recoil. And on top of that, it makes your shot line up more accurately. You're not yanking to one side or the other, or up or down. And I kept putting that in there. And at one point, it irked me to see pull.
You know what? I always say this, and I was talking with a buddy of mine about this too. I won't say what game, but there's a game out on the market right now, and it is a science fiction license game. The firearms rules are incredibly intricate and detailed, and written by somebody who's never held a firearm in their entire life. It's just, if you know anything about firearms, it's just so painful. And my buddy and I were joking that the first clue with these things, the first clue is always when they call it a clip instead of a magazine.
Oh, no.
See, firearms rules that talk about the clip, and it's not a 4-2 stripper clip, they don't know anything about guns.
Jesus. That's the worst.
And yeah, it just, and every week we're dealing, and we just don't have the time or patience to redo these firearms rules, so we're kind of suffering with them while we go through this game. But yeah, if you've never held a gun in your life, don't try. Yes, we all want to do Hollywood games, like our games live in a Hollywood movie physics universe, but there's some basic things that you have got to get right. And just, if you don't know anything about guns, talk to somebody who does before you implement your rules.
Definitely, yeah.
I'm my Ogre's rules for firearms are extremely abstracted. All of combat in Ogre's is abstracted, and you accept some things with that. But you also just, I don't know, you have to have some basic understanding of how these things work.
And I think at one point, like I said, it irked me so much that I just finished watching Harley Davidson and Marlboro Man. Mm-hmm. And one line came to mind, and I used it. I put it in the notes. I said, squeeze, don't pull, it ain't your dick. From that moment forward, when the text kind of condensed, suddenly every reference to pull was gone. I'm like, he's preempting me. Son of a bitch, he's doing my job. But yeah, I've got the copy of it up here, and I gotta say this was the first credit to my name, and I am absolutely proud of how this turned out. This was it's a great Western game. If you haven't tried it, check it out. If you're not into Western games, this will get you into Western games, definitely. And
actually, just picked up at GaryCon. I picked up Aces and Eights from Kenzerco.
No, how is it?
Man, it's got some neat stuff in there. That's a game that was written by somebody who knows their firearms. Unfortunately, the rules can be a little bogged down because of that, but there's some really neat stuff. They use bullseye templates when you are shooting a gun. You take a silhouette of a person in whatever position they are, whether it's standing, whether it's side, whether it's kneeling down, and you put a bullseye template on them, and you place the bullseye where you want to hit. And it's a great reference for people who have never fired a gun to understand this is why we don't shoot for the head. This is why we shoot for center of mass.
Exactly.
Because the bullseye template has target numbers all around the center. For if you roll this number, this is where your bullet goes. So if you put that bullseye on the head, half of that target is up in the air.
Oh wow!
So yeah, it's really, and they have two. There's a bullet template and a shotgun scatter template that you can use if you're using Scott. Very neat, very neat, intricate and innovative way to handle firearms. It's a little slow mechanically, but it's fun in its implementation.
It's accurate.
Yeah, it's accurate and it's fun. Yeah.
That's cool. There's like one thing that I really wish Hollywood would stop doing. It has to do with revolvers primarily, because I'm a big revolver guy. I love revolvers, and that they load them, then they spin them, and then they slap the things in. I'm like, you are going to fuck up your ejector rod doing that.
Such a bad, so bad for the gun. Yeah,
it's such a bad habit.
Fanning too is you don't ever fan a revolver.
No, your shots are going to be inaccurate as hell. You're just spraying and praying at that point. And I don't know, man. Like, I can't get behind like whenever they draw, you're hearing clicks. You're not going to hear clicks when guns are drawn, not unless you're actually cocking the hammer, which is a dumb idea. And the one thing. Thankfully, John Wick has kind of solved this problem a little bit. I think most movies kind of have gotten away with that.
Why is everybody constantly
fucking bank switch?
Why is everybody constantly racking their auto pistols? That drives me nuts. Constantly, every time I'm like, you just wasted a bullet, idiot. Like,
were you not carrying with one in the chamber? All you gotta do is just remove the safety. You're good. And you're carrying a Glock. Those things don't even have safeties on them. Oh my God. Oh, Hollywood has got
everybody's always cocking guns, and they do it obviously because it looks cool on screen. You know,
right?
You just went away again.
Yeah. I think my connection got loose again. Hang on, I'll fix it. But yeah, we could still keep going. One of the, I think that's just for looks, says Cal. It's
a lot of it
is, yeah.
And to give them an excuse to put that sound in, because it looks cool. It looks cool.
I think I also remember I saw a YouTube short with Michael Jai White, who's, my goodness, how long has he been in movies now, and he still looks like a badass. And the guy's a legit fighter. Like, he's 100% legit. And he was saying something like someone asked him to, I guess, kind of choreograph how a fight would really go for a movie. And he said, if I do that, it's going to look horrible.
Yeah.
And he said, you need those flashy moments in movies. But, your audience should understand that's not how that really goes. If the fight goes to the ground, it's going to be a lot of wrestling. It's going to be a lot of, like, very short thrown punches and stuff like that. And I mean, I was looking at stuff like Roadhouse from the 1980s. I'm like, yeah, that's not how a bar fight goes at all. Not how it goes at all.
That scene where Sam Elliott first comes in, and he busts the guy's knee, and he goes, "Oh, damn, that hurts, don't it?"
Well, yeah. Dramatically, it can signal the start of something. I suppose those clicks, yeah, that's true. But still, painful to have to watch. Let's see. Oh, hey, Captain Blackbeard himself, man. Sucks when you have combat experience with what weapon systems they use in the movies. It's never what it really is. Boy, isn't that true.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, in John Wick, I think it's in John Wick Chapter 2. Keanu runs out of bullets. He goes to eject his mag so he could slap another one in, and he just flicks his wrist and that thing comes out. Huh. And then when his when his pistol comes right back, he's slapping another one in there, dropping the slide, and resumes firing. That's a series I constantly bring up because I think they got very close to what it actually is. And Keanu's been asked about that little wrist flip to eject the magazine, and he was like, "Yeah, that's that was something he kind of came up with." And of course, here we go. John Wick is one of the most accurate I've seen. Nice. Good to know it's not just me, because the experiences I've had with guns, kind of growing up, I'll be honest with you, I didn't have much experience with them. I really didn't become too much of a gun guy until my corrections days. Then I really got into it.
I've never been in combat. I've never been in the military, but I've been a hunter since I was 12.
Yeah.
And I grew up around guns, and I have buddies who are gun collectors, and we spend a lot of time at the range, and so I know guns. I don't know combat and tactics, but I know guns.
Right on. Yeah, there you go. And let me ask you, going hunting, I know you've mentioned that before, and I've been meaning to ask you. I just completely space. But your go-to rifle for like deer hunting, what is it?
My current rifle is a 30-06 Mossberg.
Oh, nice.
I had before that. I had a. I still have it. It's a Marlin 30-30 lever gun, which is a great brush gun. But I get in situations sometimes where I have to take 150-yard shots, and a 30-30 lever gun just has too much.
Are you using any optics on the 30-06?
Yes. I mean, just the basic scope, nothing fancy. Yeah.
And here we go. Check this out. The wrist thing is a real thing, mostly with the M16 and M4 platforms. Okay, there we go. Although that being a rifle, and if I'm not mistaken, the pistol he was carrying at the time was a Glock with the flared magwell. It's been a minute since I've seen them. But let's see, 30-30 was my first hunting rifle.
They're great brush guns, and they hit like a fist, man. Like if you hit a deer with a 30-30, it's going to fall over.
Yeah, it's down. You're not going to really have to do much tracking with a 30-30.
But the problem with them is when you have to make long shots, because there's so much drop off after 50 yards with a 30-30. That's why I went to the 30-06, because I can shoot 150, 200 yards and still be accurate with the 30-06. So
I have seen some like Winchester 30-30s that were absolute works of art. Mm-hmm. Like I would love to have one, not maybe to shoot like at the range or something like that, but just to hang on my wall, because those things are just absolutely
some gorgeous. Of them are gorgeous. I have a friend who has a Henry Golden Boy 45 lever gun. Yeah, it's beautiful. Heavy. Oh my God, is that thing heavy? It weighs a ton. But it's a really beautiful gun, and it shoots nice too.
My younger brother, when I went back down south a little over a year ago, we went out to his place and hanging out on his porch, and he lives kind of out in the sticks. So I was like, wow, it's really quiet out here. Mm-hmm. And then he looks at me, he goes, "You want to make some noise?" I'm like, "Noise? What are you talking about? Noise?" And he goes, I hadn't been into his house yet. We were just hanging out on his front porch. He goes, "Come inside." I'm like, okay. I get inside, and there is this colossal safe in his living room. And he opens that thing up, and the first words out of my mouth were, "By the power of Grayskull." Look at this. Holy shit. This guy he actually did have like two 30-30s. One was, stock, wood, steel, all that good stuff. The second one, that was the heavy one, because he had that one tacked out with like rails and shit. I'm like, dude, why?
My prized possession, and it's not super. I mean, if I could have my choice, I want a Luger 9mm, and I want a broom handle Mauser Red 9. Those are my two dream pistols. But I have a Walther P1 post-war with the fat slide and the reinforced frame.
Oh,
And I actually bought walnut grips for it and put Decepticon logos on it, and I call it Megatron.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, hey, predestination, it's kind of hard to be a good guy when you turn into a fucking gun.
Yeah, no doubt.
I remember seeing that demotivational poster somewhere, and I'm pretty sure I saved it on a disc somewhere, but I'm not going to go digging through all that right now. But let's see. Uh, Here we go. And this is one of the things I'm going to ask. I carry a Glock every day. There are some who mod the mags or magwell spring to let empty mags drop automatically. Uh, okay, I have never really understood the fascination with Glocks.
Me neither. I feel like you pay for the name. I've shot a couple and I've been unimpressed every time.
Yeah, I've fired a few of them, and they seem to be okay. But I'm just like, it's blocky. I would have a hard time concealing that. I would probably print.
My carry guns are, I have a Ruger SR9C, which is my regular carry gun. And then I have a Magnum Research MR40 Eagle, which was a limited partnership they did with Walther, which they took a Walther P99 stock, or frame, not stock, I'm sorry, frame. Walther P99 frame, and they put a Desert Eagle, 40 caliber Desert Eagle slide and barrel on it. So it's a cross between a Walther P99 and a Desert Eagle, chambered in 40 caliber. That's my other carry gun that I use.
And when it comes to Desert Eagles, I've only ever held the Desert Eagle 50 cal. I was like,
I fired one.
Oh my god.
So, and I don't know if anybody here will agree with me, but this was my experience from firing a Desert Eagle. You take your stance, you aim, you pull the trigger, and then you see barrel flash in broad daylight on a sunny day, and then you black out for a couple seconds. When you come to, you're 2 or 3 steps back from where you started. And all you can think is, I have to do that again. So you do it again, and the second time is pretty much the same experience as the first, but then you're like, I'm really tired now. So
here we go. This is a good one. Okay, so now I'm actually getting an opinion from a Glock guy here. For me, it fits my hand perfectly. That's important. Yep, getting a good grip on your weapons, definitely important. I open carry pretty much everywhere. When I conceal, I'm plump enough not to let it print much. Okay. If it works, it works. I'm not going to argue, definitely. Yeah. It's like people who carry iPhones. I'm an Android guy. I love the customization. But I get the allure of an iPhone. I do. It's just a clean interface. It does work. And I will say this. The iPhone has a much better system of categorizing my media that I put on the phone than Android does, but it's not exactly a deal breaker for me.
Yeah.
But what the hell is with my camera? my camera's like, hey man, fuck you. I'm like, dude, come on. This is getting a little much here. I'm gonna see if I can't thread this behind whatever the hell's not gonna lose. And
that's why I just use a laptop with a built-in camera.
True. Yep. And I love my desktop though. I do have a laptop. I just I don't know. I think we're back. Come on, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
There we are. Okay. So complete with typos and technical difficulties.
Yes.
No one is immune. But I want to get right back to this because
we kind of went off on a firearm tangent there for a while.
We did. So tell us a bit about, since we're on the subject of firearms, I know you said there are some firearms in this game. What kind of pew-pews can we expect?
So again, my combat system is very abstracted. I mean, it's drawn from the earliest days of D&D. So we have the whole, like, all weapons do a D6 damage no matter what they are. So there's not a lot of intricate firearms rules in here. They tie into a lot of our 3 levels of grit, which is part of the ogre system. You can play a normal game, which we call realistic, but when I get to the next round, that's probably just going to be changed to normal instead of realistic because it's not realistic.
Right.
And we have cinematic and gritty. You can mix and match those for different aspects of the rules. You can have cinematic hit points with gritty firearms, with normal saves, and so on and so forth to tailor the game. For firearms, cinematic rules have firearms just like any other weapon. They do a d6 damage just like anything else. For normal rules, firearms do a shed load of damage. I don't remember how much, but they do a shed load of damage, but it's still survivable. And for gritty rules, I look at things like where in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, if a gun comes out, everything's gone really bad. So in the gritty rules, if you get shot, you save or die. I don't expect a lot of people to use gritty firearms for 13 Parsecs. But I have in there, my catch-all term for projectile weapons is slug throwers. So I have a slug thrower pistol, a slug thrower carbine, things like that. And then I have plasma rifles and pulse rifles and laser rifles, and most of it's flavor-based. The weapons might have a few little tweaks that they do something different and different types of damage. But it's mostly flavor-based for weapons.
So D6, but with modifiers?
Say what?
So D6, but with modifiers.
Yeah, so the way a lot of damage works is there's some times where you might roll multiple D6s and keep the best. So like certain character classes have an ability where they'll roll an extra D6, but keep the best of the two or the best of the three or whatever. And sometimes you might roll an extra 2d6 and keep the best two, or it depends on the situation and the character class. But in the end, your weapon's going to do, for the most part, a d6. There are certain things like explosives might do 4d6 total to a certain area, save for half. But for just like basic weapons where you're attacking one person, it's going to usually end up being a d6 damage, maybe plus your strength or agility modifier.
And the new and reskinned character archetypes. We got augmented, which you said was everything from like cyborgs to genetically enhanced.
Yeah.
Blaster, I'm thinking is more like a sort of a gunslinger.
It's a gunslinger, yeah.
Definitely.
The blaster, I took the archer from Wasted Lands and retooled it to work with various types of firearms.
We've got bounty hunter, diplomat, merc, mystic knight, definitely your Jedi type.
Yep.
Psychic and slicer.
Yeah. So the slicer is your rogue type class, but they are, they're more than your typical rogue because they have the ability to move around unnoticed in society, like to blend into different societal functions. They're computer hackers. They're, they call everything they do slicing. So they might slice a computer system. They might slice a high society function, So they're very much like your catch-all, ne'er-do-well, spy, espionage type character.
And we covered this one earlier, the Starship Combat, but you actually have Starship Creation in here too.
Yes. Yeah. I was explaining that earlier with all the systems and whatnot. You build starships based on point values, and you spread those point values among the systems of the starship to create your custom ship.
So we covered the gear chapter, which outlines various weaponry, equipment, ships of different types of sci-fi, psionic and mystical powers, naturally, because you really can't have a mystic knight without it. Or psionics and mystical powers, definitely you can't have the psychic there either. The mini settings, which were the frontiers, complete GM chapter, yes. A bestiary of alien threats. Oh, that's
I'm not sure how robust that's going to be because that's a real challenge for a sci-fi game because everybody's game is going to be different. What aliens are you going to have? And I could spend years making up 8 billion different alien species. So that might not be that section might not be quite as robust as the bestiaries you see in Wasted Lands or Night Shift.
But also, right here, you have the cultural background. You do have rules for alien species, including the androids and robots, Canis, Decti, Felis, Gray. Oh, we got gray aliens in there. That's cool.
Deck T.
Deck T. Okay.
Yeah.
If
Jalex.
Jalix. Yeah. Okay. Ramoni, Saurian. I'm taking that's a reptilian type.
Yes, they are completely not based on the lizards from V. Not at all.
Lizard people, as Hecklefish would say on the Y-Files. I imagine if we got a copy of this into Hecklefish's fins, he would absolutely enjoy that.
Now, the cultural backgrounds are, if you have Wasted Lands, you've seen them.
Yeah.
Essentially, they're a way to give human characters the shit you get if you're a non-human.
Right
character. Like, so if you're playing a fantasy species in Wasted Lands or an alien species in this, you get all your like advantages, like your night vision and whatever it is. Cultural backgrounds for humans give you a chance to get that stuff for a human character based on the culture that you grew up in.
And mining.
So, yeah, well, because I figure you're going to have colonists. So your colonists on other planets are going to need miners and crafters, and so you have a lot of things that might, at a glance, not seem very sci-fi, but if you think about it, they're absolutely important too.
Well, the character I'm playing in that Second Life game that I was telling you about, that's what he does in his downtime from smuggling, is he mines asteroids. So driving a freighter around like he does, he's kind of part space trucker and part Han Solo without the charm.
Yeah.
Because he's also an alkie and a druggie because of the amount of pain he's in from his ocular implants. So, when he's not drunk or completely high, he's a world-class jerk. But we do have a transhumanist.
Yep.
That's what I want to hear about. What is the transhumanist?
They're people that augment themselves or change themselves to kind of force evolution. So they get minor things that like your augment character class would get. A transhumanist character gets those at a minor level.
So sort of like the
what they are is
Warhammer.
So they are almost exactly the same in game, and this won't make sense to a lot of people until you see the game. But they're almost exactly the same as the Decti alien species, because the Decti is an alien species that is all about BioWare and changing themselves into other things. So the transhumanist, the shtick is kind of like, these are people that saw the Decti and went, we want to be like that. So they started forcing their own evolution through the use of biomechanics and experimentation.
So, sort of like the Space Marines from Warhammer 40K.
I couldn't speak because I don't play Warhammer. I'm not a Warhammer guy.
But Space Runner, are these the people who do like just short missions? They're just kind of like
yeah, they're ace pilots, smugglers, space truckers. Just anybody that makes their living running the lanes in space to transport cargo or medical supplies or whatever.
And then the fate points to give players some extra agency, so escape hits, make saves, even engage in minor scene edits.
Yeah.
So we're still kind of sticking with the cinematic, which I think is a lot of fun and very cool. Because let's face it, RPGers, man, we write better stuff at the table than Hollywood will ever dream of making. And career training.
Career training is what I was calling the basic backgrounds in Wasted Lands and Night Shift.
Yeah.
But it occurred to me that if I'm having these cultural backgrounds and then having something else called backgrounds gets confusing. So I just changed the name of the regular backgrounds to career training. So they're basically a broad general area. You can say like, my dad was a baker, so I grew up learning that craft. So I have baker as career training. And whenever that comes into play, you get a small bonus to a die roll.
So the cultural background of desert, if a player were to choose that, the career training would actually further them along that path.
If they chose a career training that that jibes with the desert, or they could choose something completely different. As long as they can justify it in their character background, then they can do whatever they want. Yeah.
And then the heroic touchstones, we touched on that one earlier. That's the option for those who want to build campaigns around heroes with true destinies. That one, that's a mechanic I'm going to be super interested in. So,
and I wanted to mention to people too. So the way alien species and human cultural backgrounds work, it's not really what you're familiar with. It's not a template that you lay on top of your character. It's basically a one-level character class that you take right off the bat. And it gives you all those abilities. And then when you hit the XP threshold of that species or background, then you reset to 0 and you pick a regular. So it kind of combines the old AD&D race and class with the basic or original D&D race as class. It takes both of those and combines them into one.
Nice. Very nice. And Brindle here says, I just got my copy of Star Wars Saga Edition, and building ships was one of my favorite things to do. And he also said, man, I would love to be a player for this. Dude, description down below. Go ahead, and if you haven't caught up on Wasted Lands and Night Shift, go ahead and grab those two. You are absolutely going to love it. First 48, $150 for all 3 games. Like, no kidding. It's a hell of a deal. You're not going to get that anywhere else. So the ogre system, I know that there are people who haven't been introduced to this yet, so I definitely want to cover this. This one, this system is completely customizable in every way. So you're going to have your gritty, normal, or cinematic play. You can mix and match to create the style of game that your table likes. So this one's going to, as I've looked at it so far, I haven't been able to run a game of this yet. I still got to get my player group to quit flaking on me. But what this does is, rather than you sitting at a table, you're running a game, you don't know what a rule is, you can still like adjudicate it on the fly, and chances are that's going to be your rule moving forward. It's still like, if you prefer point buy, you can convert from class and level point buy. If you prefer straight percentile roll under or a unique D20 rollover, there are guidelines for that. Dice pool, there you go. This is completely 100% customizable, and you can mix it all up. And it draws from it draws from a lot of different rule sets, particularly in the world's most popular role-playing game, to give you like I said, it's dead simple. If you're already familiar with a rule somewhere, you can use it. It's very easy to just put it in there. And it's a class and level system that uses 3 core mechanics. So you got your class abilities, attribute checks, rule of 2. And the rule of 2, that one's reserved for the game master and allows for quick adjudication of any scenario not otherwise covered by the rules. So if you're not sure what to do, pick a die, roll it. On a result of 1 or 2, something happens. That's it. It's this simple, and it's right there on the screen. Can't mess it up. It's literally foolproof. Anything to add there?
No, I mean, you pretty much covered it. So the class abilities are your basic D20 check, D20 plus bonuses, and you're going to try to get a 20 or better for the most part. A lot of people have told me, this was not my intent, but if it's the way it came out, then great. A lot of people have told me for our class abilities, which also is for combat. In combat, you add your enemy's AC to the roll. So a low AC is better because it's adding a lower number to the attack roll. People have told me that we took THAC0 and made it make sense. Wasn't my intention, but if that's what happened, great. And then
THAC0 was not all that hard.
No, it really wasn't.
I never a lot of steps. That's all.
Yeah. It's just basic subtraction instead of addition. And I think a lot of people are just wired for addition better than subtraction. I know I am for the most part. So, I get that. And then the class abilities are straight percentile checks. In Night Shift and Wasted Lands, even spellcasting works on percentile checks. It's every class ability. So the reason we have the 3 different mechanics is because everybody's been at a table where half the players aren't only half paying attention, or they're not paying attention, or whatever, and the GM tells somebody make a check, and instantly everybody's like, well, wait a second, can I make a check too? What's he doing? Can I do that? In this game, if you say, well, wait, what's he doing? And you notice he's rolling percentile dice, clearly it's something to do with that character class. So that said, a lot of times something that's done with a class ability can then default down to an attribute check and or a rule of 2 check. So essentially, somebody who has a perception skill is going to roll their attribute or their class ability first. Okay, whereas everybody else might just roll a wits check. Failing that, the person who rolled the wits check gets a rule of 2. The person who rolled the class ability might get a wits check and still get a roll of 2. So it all just kind of dominoes down to give the person with the class ability a better chance to get more information out of it without penalizing other players for like, what do you mean? Since I don't have perception, I can't hear something? Well, yeah, you can. It's just the person with the perception ability is going to be better at it.
Right on. And let's scroll on down. And by the way, Patty, welcome. And to anyone who doesn't know, drop into the description down below. Back this thing today. It is amazing as always. So, why 13? Shouldn't it be 12? This comes from an inside joke, apparently.
It did. So it was originally going to be called 12 Parsecs Beyond the Solar Frontier. When I was doing some research during development, I noticed that there's like 3 or 4 other companies that are using 12 parsecs for various things. Nobody's really using it for a tabletop role-playing game, but we just didn't want to deal with the brand confusion. And I threw a joke out to Tim and Derek that we're just going to call it 13 Parsecs. And it was just a joke, and we were all laughing about it. But then the more we started throwing it around because we didn't have another title, the more we actually thought 13 Parsecs sounded kind of cool. And then we had to figure out, well, what does 13 Parsecs mean? You know, like 12 Parsecs, every science fiction fan knows what 12 Parsecs is referring to. 13 Parsecs has to have a meaning. So we decided that in all of our mini settings, all of our solar frontiers, 12 Parsecs is the range of human exploration. Nobody has gone beyond 12 Parsecs, which is about 40, if I remember right, about 45 light years, something like that. I have to look it up, but they've only gone 12 Parsecs. Or 13 Parsecs for various reasons. It could be just that nobody's gone that far. It could be that there's some kind of cosmic barrier. It could be that anytime somebody's gone past that, nobody ever heard from them again. You know, whatever. So it's just kind of a little fun thing to tie in. And of course, when people are doing their own games, you can have the whole galaxy at your, you know, there's nothing in the rules that say you have to have a 13 parsec limit. It's just something we did to tie the title into the rules.
I'm already kind of imagining what happens when the people who have gone no farther than 12 suddenly experience people who have gone 13, 14, 15 out. And
or when aliens show up from beyond there, yeah.
It's like, oh, holy shit, you guys do exist. Yep. And I think we actually, in that game I was telling you about, we do have a gray who heads the entire operation. I'm pretty much I'm the Jack Burton of the bunch, basically. Mm-hmm. And he's kind of the brains of the operation, which if you've seen him lately, he and his race intercepted our TV shows and movies and believed them to be real.
That's always a great trope. Yeah.
It's a great trope, and he has been just milking the hell out of it.
Yeah.
He calls us savages for leaving Gilligan and the skipper and all on the island and not affecting a rescue. Like,
they did that in Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest,
they specifically referenced Gilligan's Island because you don't think Gilligan's Island is real, and they go, "Those poor people."
Poor people.
But then you have the Transformers, the Junkions talk TV talk.
I've got to see that. I think I haven't watched the animated series in a very long time.
This is the old Transformers the movie from '86.
It's been a minute since last time I saw that. I think I was in the second grade, first grade, something like that. And we just got our report cards, and yeah, that was a great day. It was a wonderful day for me, and a great night. Patty here says, I only know of 5 parsecs, but this is looking cool. It is cool. It is very cool. You should totally back this one. And if you don't have Wasted Lands or Night Shift, you should totally grab those while you're at it. 3 games.
I'm super proud of these games and the system that we put together for it. So the system's 99% my work. Tim did a lot of statistical analysis in the early days for me because he has PhDs in statistics and like 4 other topics. He's ridiculously intelligent. But he kind of badgered me into creating the system that ended up as ogres. So.
And you say you expect to deliver this game around September of 2024, but I'm going to, and you put this in, Wasted Lands fulfilled super early.
About a month early, yeah.
Yeah, earlier than I expected.
There were a couple stragglers that just didn't fill out their surveys on time. They got theirs a little later, but for the most part, we fulfilled early, yeah.
And for the people who have just joined us, I'm going to show this again. Into the wormhole early bird. So for the first 48 hours, we're not even 16 hours in.
No, I think we're almost 17 now. Yeah,
almost 17. Okay. So there's this the into the wormhole early bird. I don't have my words today. $150, and you get all 3 plus GM screens. So. There you go.
We actually had somebody go in today and do that. This person is my hero. They did the Into the Wormhole early bird, and then they added on the Night Companion and the Faustian Dilemma from the add-ons. So they literally bought everything we have. Yeah.
Wow. Nice. And then one more time for these. These are the stretch goals right here. Video again? Yep, that's the video again. Audio, include me in. There we go. Let me pause that. Get down here. Back to the stretch goals. So this is what we're looking at right here. It's already funded. And we'll just kind of go back up and see where it's sitting.
4122, it looks like.
Woo!
Yeah.
Off of 86. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
So we're about a little over 800 away from the first stretch goal. Yep.
And that's going to be the new Solar Frontier. So we don't have too much further to go to get that last Solar Frontier out of this guy. That's a mini setting. Then if we can do it, and guys, I know we can. I know my audience here absolutely goes to the wall. God's bless all of you. You're awesome. 9,000 in the first 48 hours. And
72 hours.
72 hours, sorry. Yeah. 72 hours. Hardcover. These soft covers get upgraded. At the $13,000 level, the leather covers get unlocked. That's not going to be an upgrade. That's going to be something different. That's a new pledge level. 15,000, we get the printed GM screens instead of the print on demand GM screens. 20,000, much bigger art budget. We would love to get Mel into this, and that will aid in it. And at 25,000, full color art. And then Jason has mentioned before, he's got some really cool surprise stuff coming up for anything beyond 25,000. Guys, I want to issue you a challenge. I think you're up for it because you guys are like absolute units out there. Just shotgun this thing out. Like, spread the word about it. If you can't back it now, that's fine. Wait until payday or whatever. Go ahead and get this out to all of your friends who love sci-fi. Let's see if we can get it to 25,000 in the next 72 before that 72 hour mark is up. That will be 6:15 a.m. this Friday Eastern time. So let's see if we could get it to that. I really want to see. I would love to see it get to 1,000 backers personally, because that would be amazing as hell. And
Yeah.
I'd love to see more people grabbing Wasted Lands and Night Shift at the same time, because they're excellent games. And Patty also said that is awesome. Congrats. Definitely congratulations are in order. I mean, like I said before, the last one was so hard fought.
It really was. We funded at the 0 hour because an angel swooped in and dropped $6,000 on us.
Ooh. Yeah, I remember some conversations we had where there was some pep talking.
Yeah, I was getting depressed because Wasted Lands is a passion project for me. I've been working on it for decades. That game is, and I absolutely love it, and it's starting to take off. It's starting to find an audience, but we lucked out at the very end of that Kickstarter. So,
and just to kind of illustrate here, put you back here. We're gonna give our audience a little peek at what that art budget is going to be going towards. And don't get me wrong, I love black and white art because it really invokes that old school feeling, but I would love to see this game get color art. And let's see. Just carefully unfold this. Come on, baby. And this is the map for Wasted Lands, which, actually, you know what? Do sell it real quick. That way we can really show it off. Here we go.
This was done by an artist named Meliora Henning, who does some work for Troll Lords, and she's done some stuff on Twitter. You can see it. She's phenomenal. She's just a great artist. She also did, it's not up on here. Well, it might be up in the Kickstarter or in the backer kit, but we have a new company logo too that Mel did for us, which is a dragon smoking a pipe.
Yep, Mel actually does some really, really good stuff. Been a fan of hers for a long time. I think let's get her. What do you say, guys? Let's get her some more work, and let's get 13 Parsecs up to that art budget goal. I'll hold that in just a moment. But let's get it up there. Let's do it. I know we can. I know we're absolute savages like that. And I think we're kind of coming up on the end of it right now, because I got to feed the little furball here who just.
Yeah, and I got to hit the sack. I got to get up for work tomorrow morning. So
same. Thankfully, I don't have to work till 2 p.m., so I'm good there. But yeah, anything to close out? Anything we left on the table?
I don't think we left anything on the table, but thank you all for your support, especially the folks that went in and pledged during this stream. It means the world to me. Every pledge helps. And I said this a lot during the Wasted Lands campaign, and it still stands. If you have a choice between backing one of the big boys who's making $1 million on Kickstarter and backing a small publisher who's barely funding, every time go back the small publisher, because when you back a small publisher, you're helping somebody who is doing this for the love of doing it, and every dollar you give them makes a difference. If you back somebody who's got $1 million in their Kickstarter, your pledge means nothing to them, and you're going to get that game anyways. It's coming out. It was coming out, on day one. Supporting small publishers is supporting the gaming industry. So that's what we're here for. And thank you, Grendel.
Grendel said he
really appreciate it.
88th backer. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, I was not able to live up to my promise, because I said I'm going to be the first in line, and I woke up 3 hours too late for it. But I was like,
it's all good, dude. I knew you were coming.
Better late than never.
Yeah, I knew you were coming. So
on behalf of Jason and the rest of the team at Elf Lair Games, thank you guys so much.
And I still owe you when we get to the point where it's done, because I promised you this back in Wasted Lands. If I get those GM screens printed, I owe you one. So.
All right, yeah, I appreciate it. I kind of thought that the inserts were it, but I was like, hey, that's cool. But yeah, if we get those, I definitely appreciate it, because the inserts looked really fucking cool. So I really got to get inserts for Night Shift as well, because that's an awesome game. But anyway, guys, thank you again. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for spreading the word. Thank you for continuing to spread the word. Spam it out. use your powers for good on this one. And yeah, as always, guys, I love you all. Take care of yourselves and each other. Always play what lights you up. And as always, you know what to do. Just keep playing on. That's all that matters. Oh, by the way, Gilded Server, join up. We've got tables there. You can run any game you like. And hey, who knows? At some point, I might even run a Wasted Lands game and a Night Shift game for you. So, and guess what? I'm pointing in the wrong direction. This man's in there too. So you can talk to him, ask him questions. Tony from Dystopian Dawn 2526 is in there. And
just so you know, I'll know though, I'm terrible at keeping up with the 8 million different social channels I'm on. So if you ask me a question, Wolfgar might have to come find me and let me know.
I'll be tracking you down. It's all good. But anyway, thank you guys. Love you. Take care. And as always, play on.